$8 trillion. That's the number making headlines around the world. They say Ghana is sitting on a discovery that could change everything. A metal so rare, so valuable, that the future of technology itself depends on it. It powers smartphones, electric cars, and even rockets that touch the edge of space. It's called Tantalum. But the question is not just whether the number is true. The real question is this: if Ghana has truly discovered trillions of dollars worth of tantalum, will the people of Ghana, and Africa as a whole, finally see the benefits? Or will this just be another chapter in a long story of riches taken, hopes dashed, and promises broken?
Chapter 1. What is tantalum? Most people have never even heard the word tantalum, yet without it, the modern world as we know it would grind to a halt. It is one of those hidden elements, quietly working behind the scenes in technologies we use every single day, yet rarely making headlines like gold, oil, or diamonds. Tantalum is a hard, blue-gray metal with some remarkable qualities. It resists corrosion like almost no other element. In fact, when scientists first discovered it in the early 1800s, they noticed something strange. No matter how much acid it was exposed to, tantalum simply refused to absorb it. That resistance is the reason it was named after the mythical king Tantalus, cursed in Greek mythology to stand knee-deep in water he could never drink. The metal, like the king, remained untouched, refusing to drink even the most corrosive acids. But tantalum's true value lies not just in its durability. It has another superpower: its ability to store and release energy in extremely small, controlled bursts. This makes it perfect for capacitors, tiny components that regulate the flow of electricity. Capacitors may be small, but they are the lifeblood of modern electronics. Without them, your devices would overheat, malfunction, or simply not work at all. Think about your smartphone. Inside that sleek device is a network of tantalum capacitors, keeping power flows stable, allowing you to browse the internet, make calls, and watch videos without your phone suddenly shutting down. Your laptop, same story. Every time it processes data or handles complex tasks, tantalum capacitors are ensuring the circuits stay balanced. But it doesn't stop there. Aerospace also relies heavily on tantalum. Because it doesn't corrode inside the body, it is used in surgical implants, pacemakers, hearing aids, bone repair plates. When someone's life depends on a device inside their body functioning for years without fail, tantalum is often the hidden hero. Then there's aerospace. Jet engines and spacecraft face unimaginable heat and stress. Tantalum alloys resistant to both are used in turbine blades and rocket components. In other words, tantalum helps humans reach the skies and beyond. And as the world races toward renewable energy and electrification, tantalum's role only grows. Advanced batteries, supercapacitors, and energy storage systems all depend on metals like tantalum. The push for electric vehicles, solar power, and wind farms has created an insatiable demand for materials that can store power efficiently. So while tantalum may not have the glitter of gold or the romantic aura of diamonds, it has something even more valuable in today's world: utility. It is not a luxury metal, it is a strategic metal. Strategic because without it, industries collapse. Strategic because whoever controls tantalum supply has influence over the future of technology itself. And that's what makes the discovery in Ghana so extraordinary. If the numbers are real, Ghana may be sitting on one of the most valuable resources of the 21st century. Chapter 2. The $8 trillion claim. When news broke that Ghana might be sitting on a tantalum discovery worth $8 trillion, the story captured headlines across the world. $8 trillion. That's more than the combined GDP of many nations. It's a number so staggering that it's almost impossible to fully comprehend. But what does it really mean? To understand, we need to look at how such estimates are calculated. Experts take the estimated quantity of tantalum in the ground and multiply it by the current market price per kilogram. On paper, this generates a figure, in this case $8 trillion. But here's the catch. That number assumes that every ounce can be extracted, refined, and sold at today's prices. It doesn't account for mining costs, technical challenges, political risks, or market fluctuations. Let's put it in perspective. Ghana's annual GDP is around $75 billion. The Tantalum estimate is more than 100 times that. Imagine a single discovery with the potential to outvalue the entire economy of the country by orders of magnitude. To many, it sounds like a sudden transformation. Ghana could leap from a middle-income nation to a global economic powerhouse almost overnight. But history tempers that excitement. Africa is littered with examples where resource discoveries promised immense wealth but delivered very little to the people. Gold, cocoa, oil, and diamonds have all generated massive export revenues, yet ordinary citizens often see minimal benefits. Wealth concentrates in the hands of a few, while local communities face environmental degradation, health challenges, and limited economic opportunity, a pattern seen repeatedly in resource-dependent economies across Africa. Moreover, tantalum is not as simple as digging it out of the ground. It is often mixed with other minerals, requiring sophisticated processing facilities to separate and refine it. The raw ore itself is valuable, but the real wealth comes from the ability to process it locally and produce high-value products. Without this infrastructure, Ghana risks becoming a supplier of raw materials, and, like many countries before it, the bulk of profits could leave the nation for foreign corporations and overseas refineries. Another layer of complexity is price volatility. Tantalum is critical for electronics, aerospace, and medical industries, but demand can fluctuate. A sudden breakthrough in battery technology or a shift to alternative materials could depress global prices. That means the $8 trillion figure is never guaranteed. It is a theoretical maximum under ideal conditions. Still, the discovery is remarkable. It has the potential to position Ghana as a strategic player in the global tech supply chain. Companies like Apple, Tesla, and Samsung are always searching for reliable, ethically sourced tantalum. If Ghana can develop its resources responsibly, it could command not just high prices, but also geopolitical influence. So while the number alone, $8 trillion, is not the whole story, the real story lies in the how. How Ghana manages extraction, processing, governance, and trade. That's where the difference between a miracle and a mirage will be decided. Chapter 3. Ghana's Resource History. To understand the significance of tantalum in Ghana, we must first look at the country's long and complex history with natural resources. Ghana, once known as the Gold Coast, has been a hub of wealth and trade for centuries. Its rivers, forests, and underground deposits were rich with gold, attracting traders from across the globe. The Portuguese arrived in the 15th century, followed by the Dutch and eventually the British, each establishing forts and trading posts along the coast. Many of these structures remain today, standing as silent witnesses to a time when Ghana's resources fueled distant empires while leaving the local population impoverished. Gold, the lifeblood of early trade, brought immense wealth to foreign powers. Yet for local communities, it often meant forced labor, displacement, and in the darkest eras, the horrors of the transatlantic slave trade. Wealth flowed outward. Ghana's people bore the costs. This early history illustrates a recurring pattern. Natural resources can generate extraordinary wealth, but only if managed responsibly and equitably. After independence in 1957, Ghana shifted its economic focus to agriculture, particularly cocoa production. By the mid-20th century, Ghana was the world's leading cocoa exporter, supplying European chocolate manufacturers and global markets. Cocoa provided livelihoods for millions of farmers and was seen as a pillar of national pride. Yet global market fluctuations dictated the fortunes of these farmers. When international prices dropped, the same farmers who produced the world's chocolate were plunged into poverty. Even with the country earning billions in export revenues, the benefits were unevenly distributed. highlighting the delicate balance between natural resource wealth and social prosperity. Later, Ghana diversified into mining bauxite, manganese, and later oil. The 2007 oil discovery off Ghana's coast was hailed as a transformative moment. Politicians promised the black gold would fund schools, hospitals, roads, and infrastructure projects, reshaping Ghana into a modern, thriving economy. But the reality has been more complicated. While oil has boosted government revenues, its impact on ordinary citizens has been uneven. Corruption scandals, bureaucratic inefficiencies, and global price fluctuations have prevented the full promise of oil from materializing. Communities near extraction sites have often faced environmental degradation, health challenges, and limited economic opportunity, a pattern seen repeatedly in resource-dependent economies across Africa. This history of resource booms and unfulfilled promises sets the stage for tantalum. Unlike gold or cocoa, tantalum is a strategic metal vital to the modern global economy. It is used in everything from smartphones to aerospace and medical devices. Its discovery in Ghana represents not just economic potential, but geopolitical significance. Yet it carries the risks familiar from history: exploitation, environmental harm, and inequality. The key question becomes whether Ghana can break from historical patterns. Can it manage tantalum extraction responsibly, ensuring that local communities benefit, infrastructure is built, and the wealth fuels lasting development? Or will tantalum follow
The same trajectory as gold, cocoa, and oil, enriching a select few while leaving the majority behind? The story of Ghana's resources is a story of opportunity and caution, hope and warning. Tantalum, if handled wisely, could finally turn the page on centuries of exploitation and underdevelopment. But history reminds us that wealth alone is never enough. Governance, vision, and accountability are what transform resources into lasting prosperity. Tantalum, if handled wisely, could finally turn the page on centuries of exploitation and underdevelopment. But history reminds us that wealth alone is never enough. Governance, vision, and accountability are what transform resources into lasting prosperity. Chapter 4. The Global Picture. While Ghana's tantalum discovery has captured national attention, its true significance emerges only when viewed in the context of the global supply chain. Tantalum is a rare, strategic metal, essential for modern electronics, aerospace, renewable energy, and even defense industries. Yet only a handful of countries dominate its production, refining, and distribution. Currently, major tantalum mining comes from Brazil, Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and Australia. The DRC in particular has historically supplied a large portion of the world's tantalum, but its industry has long been entangled with conflict. Mines in eastern DRC are often controlled by armed groups, and child labor and unsafe working conditions are widespread. For multinational companies, sourcing conflict-free tantalum has become both a moral and economic necessity. Apple, Samsung, and Tesla, among others, face intense scrutiny over their supply chains, and a single scandal could damage billions in brand value. This is where Ghana's discovery could be transformative. Unlike the DRC, Ghana has a comparatively stable political and regulatory environment. If it can develop tantalum responsibly, Ghana could become one of the world's most attractive suppliers. Companies seeking ethically sourced tantalum would prefer Ghana over regions fraught with legal, moral, and operational risks. This could command premium prices and establish Ghana as a critical hub in global technology supply chains. But tantalum's strategic value also draws geopolitical attention. China dominates not only the mining, but also the processing and refining of many rare metals, giving it outsized influence over global markets. The United States and European nations are increasingly concerned about this dependency. A new, stable source of tantalum in Ghana could shift global power balances, providing both economic and geopolitical leverage. However, global demand is not static. Tantalum prices are highly sensitive to technological changes. Breakthroughs in battery technology, circuit design, or alternative materials could reduce demand. Furthermore, reliance on a single resource exposes any country to market volatility. While the headlines talk about $8 trillion, the real-world value depends on both market conditions and Ghana's ability to integrate extraction with processing and manufacturing. Environmental and social concerns are also global issues. Improper mining practices could result in deforestation, water contamination, and community displacement. Failure to address these issues could provoke international backlash and harm Ghana's reputation as a stable, ethical supplier. Despite these challenges, the potential for Ghana is enormous. Strategically, the country could leverage tantalum to become an essential player in the tech revolution, diversify its economy, and gain global influence. But this will require careful planning, investment, and transparency. The world is watching, and Ghana's success or failure will be a lesson not just for its own citizens, but for Africa as a whole.
Chapter 5. Challenges Ahead. While the tantalum discovery in Ghana presents extraordinary potential, it also comes with a host of challenges, some technical, some economic, and some deeply social and political, or another missed opportunity. First, there is the technical challenge. Extracting tantalum is far from simple. It is often found in complex ores mixed with other minerals, meaning advanced processing facilities are required to separate and refine it efficiently. These facilities are expensive, require skilled labor, and depend on reliable electricity and water supplies. Without investing in this infrastructure, Ghana risks exporting raw ore at low prices, while the true value is captured by foreign processors overseas. Building a domestic refining industry is essential, but costly, and it requires careful planning and sustained investment over years, if not decades. Second, the environmental challenge looms large. Mining, even under the best practices, can be destructive. Ghana already struggles with environmental degradation from illegal small-scale gold mining, known locally as galamsey. Rivers are polluted with mercury. Forests are cleared, and communities are displaced. Tantalum mining, if not carefully regulated, could replicate or even worsen these patterns. Beyond pollution, the social impact on nearby communities, including health risks, loss of farmland, and disruption of traditional ways of life, cannot be ignored. Environmental sustainability must be central to any mining plan. Third, there is the market and economic challenge. Tantalum prices fluctuate based on global demand, technological trends, and geopolitical shifts. Today, tantalum is critical for electronics, aerospace, and medical devices, but innovations in battery chemistry, electronics design, or alternative materials could reduce demand. Over-reliance on one resource exposes Ghana to significant economic risk. Price volatility could transform a potential windfall into financial instability if not managed with foresight. Finally, there is the governance challenge. Natural resource wealth can easily become a double-edged sword. Poorly managed contracts, lack of transparency and corruption, and weak institutions can turn a national treasure into a national liability. Across Africa, we have seen numerous examples. Oil wealth concentrated in elite hands in Nigeria, diamond revenues fueling conflict in Sierra Leone, and communities marginalized from resource benefits. For tantalum to truly benefit Ghana, strong regulatory frameworks, accountable governance, and fair distribution of wealth are essential. Despite these challenges, there are reasons for cautious optimism. Ghana has a relatively stable political climate compared with other mineral-rich African nations, and civil society is increasingly active in monitoring resource governance. International partnerships, technological investment, and a focus on ethical, environmentally responsible mining could transform tantalum into a pillar of sustainable growth. In short, the challenges ahead are not insurmountable, but they are significant. Ghana has the chance to break the cycle of resource dependency and mismanagement that has hampered previous booms only if it approaches tantalum extraction strategically, transparently, and with the well-being of its people at the center of every decision. Chapter 6. The Opportunity. Amid the challenges, Ghana's discovery of tantalum offers extraordinary opportunities not just for economic gain, but to transform the nation's role in the global economy and reshape the lives of its citizens. First, consider the potential for industrialization. Tantalum is not just a commodity to be exported, it is a strategic metal with applications in high-tech industries. By developing local processing facilities, Ghana could move beyond exporting raw ore and instead produce capacitors, batteries, and other high-value products for global markets. This would create skilled jobs and stimulate entrepreneurship and lay the foundation for a new industrial sector. Rather than watching wealth leave the country, Ghana could capture it locally, generating a ripple effect across multiple sectors. Second, tantalum offers the potential for technology transfer and innovation. Partnerships with global technology firms could bring expertise, training, and equipment to Ghana, enabling the nation to build capacity in engineering, metallurgy, and advanced manufacturing. Imagine Ghana not only mining tantalum, but also designing components for smartphones, electric vehicles, or medical devices. This is how a natural resource can be transformed into a knowledge-based economy, where value is added locally instead of being exported as raw material. Third, the discovery could enhance Ghana's geopolitical influence. Tantalum is a critical component in the tech-driven global economy, and demand is rising steadily. Countries that control stable, ethically sourced tantalum will wield influence over industries from consumer electronics to aerospace and defense. Ghana could position itself as a key player, not just in Africa, but on the global stage. By setting ethical standards for extraction and export, Ghana could gain international respect and leverage in trade negotiations. Finally, there is the opportunity to invest in people and infrastructure. Revenue from tantalum could fund schools, hospitals, roads, and technology hubs, creating long-term prosperity rather than short-lived windfalls. By learning from the successes of Botswana with diamonds and Norway with oil, Ghana could establish sovereign wealth strategies, saving and reinvesting profits for future generations. The tantalum discovery is not merely about money, it is about choices. Ghana can replicate old mistakes, exporting raw resources for immediate profit but leaving long-term potential unrealized. Or it can seize the opportunity to build a new economic paradigm, one that combines ethical mining, technological advancement, and sustainable development. In essence, the tantalum opportunity is a test of vision. If Ghana acts wisely, it could finally transform its natural resources into real, tangible benefits for its people, an example for Africa and the world of how to turn hidden wealth into lasting prosperity.
Chapter 7. Lessons from the Past. History offers both cautionary tales and inspiring examples for Ghana as it contemplates the management of its tantalum wealth. Across Africa, the story of natural resource exploitation is a complex mix of opportunity, mismanagement, and sometimes tragedy. For Ghana, understanding these lessons is essential to avoid repeating past mistakes and to seize the moment for transformative change. Take Nigeria, for example. The country's oil wealth is legendary, yet it has often been described as a resource curse. Billions of dollars flow into the economy, but corruption, weak governance, and mismanagement have prevented this wealth from benefiting ordinary citizens.
Oil revenue concentrated power in the hands of a few, while environmental degradation in regions like the Niger Delta left communities struggling with pollution, poverty, and social unrest. Despite immense potential, Nigeria's oil boom demonstrates how resource wealth can fail to translate into broad-based development. Sierra Leone offers another stark warning. Diamonds, often called blood diamonds, fueled years of civil conflict, financed armed groups, and devastated local communities. The discovery of valuable resources did not bring prosperity. It became a source of violence and instability. The lesson here is clear. Wealth in the ground can easily become a catalyst for conflict if governance and accountability are weak. Yet history also offers examples of success. Botswana, often cited as Africa's model for resource management, used its diamond wealth to fuel national development. By negotiating tough contracts with mining companies, investing revenues into prosperity. Today, Botswana enjoys political stability, strong economic growth, and high standards of living relative to the region. Proof that natural resources can be a blessing when managed wisely. Norway provides a complementary lesson. Its oil wealth, discovered in the late 1960s, could have easily led to a classic resource curse. Instead, Norway established a sovereign wealth fund, saving and investing oil revenues for future generations. This long-term vision ensured that oil became a tool for sustained national development, rather than a source of short-term gain and political instability. For Ghana, these lessons are particularly relevant. The tantalum discovery offers tremendous potential, but it is not enough to simply extract and sell the metal. Governance, transparency, ethical business practices, and investment in human capital are all critical. The country must avoid over-reliance on one resource and ensure that revenue is channeled into projects that benefit ordinary citizens. Ultimately, the past teaches that wealth is not destiny. Natural resources, no matter how abundant, do not automatically generate prosperity. It is the decisions made by leaders, institutions, and society as a whole that determine whether resources become a blessing or a curse. For Ghana, the story of tantalum will not only be about the metal itself, but about whether history's lessons are finally applied to secure a future of sustainable development and national empowerment. Chapter 8. The Future of Ghana's Tantalum. The tantalum discovery places Ghana at a pivotal crossroads, one that could define the nation's economic and geopolitical future for decades. The possibilities are immense, but so are the risks. At this moment, every decision matters, from how extraction is managed to how revenues are invested, from the treatment of local communities to the development of a domestic processing industry. The first path is the business-as-usual scenario. Ghana could choose to export raw tantalum to foreign companies, prioritizing immediate revenue over long-term development. On paper, this would generate cash quickly, but it risks replicating the mistakes of the past. History shows that unprocessed resource exports rarely lead to broad-based prosperity. Instead, wealth leaves the country, leaving behind environmental damage, social disruption, and missed opportunities for local economic growth. The alternative path is more challenging, yet far more transformative. Ghana could seize control of the entire value chain, from extraction to processing to manufacturing, keeping the bulk of the profits within the country. This would require substantial investment in technology, skilled labor, and infrastructure. Partnerships with global companies could bring knowledge transfer, while strict regulations and transparent contracts would ensure that local communities benefit. By building a domestic refining and manufacturing industry, Ghana could create high-paying jobs, develop technical expertise, and establish itself as a leader in strategic metals. Beyond economics, tantalum offers geopolitical leverage. The metal is essential for modern electronics, medical devices, aerospace, and defense. Countries that can supply it reliably and ethically gain influence in international markets and negotiations. Ghana, if managed wisely, could become a strategic partner for major powers seeking secure, conflict-free sources of tantalum. This influence could translate into political clout, favorable trade agreements, and investment opportunities that extend well beyond the mining sector. Moreover, tantalum has the potential to foster regional collaboration. Through frameworks like the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCTA, Ghana could collaborate with neighboring nations on refining, manufacturing, and distribution, creating a regional supply network that maximizes value retention within Africa. Such collaboration could strengthen continental economic integration, promote shared prosperity, and reduce dependency on external powers. At the societal level, responsible management of tantalum revenues could transform education, healthcare, infrastructure, and technology in Ghana. Imagine schools equipped with modern laboratories, hospitals with state-of-the-art equipment, roads and bridges connecting communities, and innovation hubs fostering startups and tech solutions. Done right, tantalum could catalyze an era of human capital development alongside economic growth. Ultimately, the future of Ghana's tantalum is not written in stone. The metal itself holds value, but its true worth will be measured by the choices Ghana's leaders and people make. Will they learn from history, prioritize sustainability, and invest in long-term prosperity? Or will tantalum become yet another resource story where headlines are big but benefits are small? Ghana stands at the threshold of possibility. The world is watching, the stakes are high, and the potential is enormous. The question remains, will this moment become a miracle for the people of Ghana, or merely a mirage?